I'd like to finally take a look at one that is not consumer-facing at all, that is in fact invisible to the consumer, but extremely important to the end user and indeed to the vendor or integrator of digital signage. The question here is, how can I deploy digital signage cost effectively and with the least possible hassle? And the answer is, stick your head in the cloud, quite seriously. I'm referring, of course, to cloud computing. Many of you will have heard this. It's become perhaps the biggest trend in the broader IT world in the past 2 to 3 years. One could talk about it at great length, but as the schematic on the right shows, the concept of cloud computing is relatively simple. Everything is contained within what they call the cloud, which basically means your service provider's IT infrastructure. You yourself don't need to run servers, you don't need to run applications or anything at your own premises. You simply subscribe, in effect, to a cloud computing provider who has hundreds of really powerful computers hidden away in a data center somewhere, and all your applications run on those. You're saved the problems of maintaining and indeed storing and cooling and protecting hardware. You don't have to manage the hardware. You don't have to do upgrades yourself. And it's generally on a pay-as-you-go basis. You pay for what you use. If you need more computing power on a Wednesday than on Tuesday, you'll build more for Wednesday. But you don't have that computing power sitting around on Tuesday unused. Digital signage software is increasingly and rapidly moving to the cloud computing model. Many of you will know it under the name that's perhaps more common in this sector, software as a service, simply a synonym for cloud computing. I think one of the most interesting benefits here, apart from the obvious cost benefits and indeed simplicity, lack of management overhead benefits, is that it's really enabling a lot of smaller businesses that wouldn't want the hassle of actually deploying digital signage software on their own very small networks. It's enabling them to use digital signage. And so for vendors and resellers particularly, it's opening up what has been called the long tail market, the very large number of very small users who collectively are as big or bigger than the large and well-known users. So that's what I think is hot in digital signage at the moment. And what does it really come down to? Well, I've given you some headings: consumer engagement, near-field communication, data-driven content, and so on. But ultimately, it's about ways to engage the consumer with the business or the brand, and at the same time deliver value to the consumer and the business or the brand. And all these technologies, all these design approaches contribute to doing that, which is what good digital signage is all about. So thank you for your time. I hope I haven't overrun, and I apologize for those technical problems we had with the videos. But then it wouldn't be a presentation if it didn't have teething problems. So I shall hand you back now to my colleague Mike, and he has a few things to talk about, particularly some interesting news items from the world of digital signage, and after that we'll be taking any questions. Thanks.